Now, Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana will deliver his maiden medium-term budget policy statement this afternoon. COSATU is among the organizations that will be keeping a close eye on developments. Our reporter Athi Mtongana is there with the COSATU Parliamentary Coordinator Matthew Parks. Athi, very good morning to you. COSATU wants a budget that responds to the needs of the vulnerable. Does this include extending the 350 Rand grant?
A very good morning to you, Mpo. Definitely, it does include that 350 grant that was given to South Africans as a form of relief during this COVID-19 pandemic. COSATU is not the only organization that is calling for and expecting for an extension to some of those grants. You may recall this week that the official opposition, a political party in Parliament, the Democratic Alliance, tabled their alternative medium-term budget policy statement, and what they're expecting the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, to tell the country when he delivers that speech. And in fact, they also spoke about the extension of grants. But to talk more on this, I am joined by COSATU's Matthew Parks. Thank you so much, Matthew, for your time. The idea of having these grants extended is not only something that organizations like COSATU are thinking about, it's what the South Africans on the ground are thinking about, most importantly those who really do need that form of relief.
COSATU has long supported some sort of basic income grant. The 350 grant is not perfect. It's a small amount, it's had some administrative issues, but it's provided relief to millions of people. The fact that you see queues of hundreds of people every day at the post offices waiting for it shows you that people are desperate for it. It has helped people to buy a loaf of bread a day. Research has shown it's helped people to pay for transport, to go and look for work. So we think it needs to be extended. It needs to be extended beyond March. It should be made permanent. We should also use it as a stepping stone to achieve a basic income grant, to see how can we increase it to the level of the food poverty line, which is about 624 Rand. But first thing is, let's extend it and then build upon it, fix administrative issues. But we can't afford to stop it, because those people who are receiving it, the 8 million plus, will not find jobs on the 1st of March.
You're talking about in the future having it permanent. Will then South Africa be able to afford that?
We think we can. Right now the 350 itself is quite affordable in the budget. It's about 50 billion Rand in a budget of about 1.8 trillion Rand. If you increase it, it's still affordable. But also, we should also ask, can we afford not to have it? Can we afford to have 44% of society which is unemployed without any source of income? That's a recipe for chaos. When we saw the violence in KZN and Gauteng in July, yes, there was a political and there was a criminal orchestration to it, but it also fed into a sea of poverty, despair and hopelessness. So this 350 grant, it enables you to buy a loaf of bread a day. It's not perfect, but it's a stepping stone, and we should be a caring society which doesn't leave people behind. The money's not wasted. When people have that money, they go and buy food. It goes back into the local economy. It stimulates the economy. Government also collects some of it back through taxes, through the shops. But right now, we think we have to provide some sort of relief to people who are desperate, in addition to other measures like the Unemployment Insurance Fund for workers, sector relief for battered sector of the economy, like hospitality or restaurants or tourism. But if we want to get out of a recession, we need to throw everything we have to create jobs, to save jobs, to provide people with absolute means of survival, and to enable companies to grow and to stimulate the economy.
Some of the issues that have been spoken about in the lead up to today is the issue around taxes, and how a lot of people are saying no increases, no additions to taxes, because South Africans will simply not be able to afford.
Look, we would agree with not increasing taxes on the working class or middle class families. In fact, over the past few years with VAT and electricity hikes, those taxes have actually hurt the poor the hardest, working class the hardest. We think the major focus has to be to invest in SARS. If you invest in SARS, you build new capacity, you give them additional resources to hire specialists, to build up the IT systems. That enables them to go after those who are not paying taxes, the rich. The significant amounts of money which have been shown to be lost in tax evasion and customs evasions, that denies the state badly needed revenue, and this is in the billions of rands. So investing in SARS is a worthwhile investment to government, because it enables SARS to collect more money for government, which enables government to pay public servants the salaries, provide the public services society needs. But we think there is some space to increase tax upon the wealthy, those who earn, for example, above 1.5 million for income tax, some of the wealthier companies. There's also a need to look at increasing inheritance, estate duties, and luxury goods taxes for the wealthy, not for the poor. And of course, we need to reduce the tax loopholes, which often, again, the wealthy exploit. So there is some tinkering we can do to make it more fair and equitable.
Matthew Sparks, thank you so much for your time. COSATU giving what they're expecting ahead of Minister of Finance Enoch Godongwana delivering that all-important medium-term budget policy statement. This is going to be his first one, so definitely all eyes on where he's going to take the money to, but especially what it will mean then for ordinary South Africans who are calling, for example, for an extension for those relief funds, that 350 that has gone a long way in as far as assisting, as Matthew Sparks was saying, assisting citizens to a point where they could even be able to afford a loaf of bread. I'll leave it there for now and pour back to you in studio.
Very well, Athi Mtongana. Let's, of course, leave it there as we continue in the build-up to the medium-term budget, which will be heard at 2 o'clock this afternoon.